We're going for a double feature today. I hope you're ready. Let's go with part 5 of An Uncertain Future, my BokuAkaKuroKen Omega vs. Haikyuu. Kageyama sat awkwardly at the edge of the bed, Kenma next to him. Hinata had just sent him here with only a brief explanation. The Omega seemed to have forgotten that neither of them was a prime example of socializing. The silence lingered in the room, along with unspoken words and the bitter scent of distress and discomfort. The Alpha took a deep breath, but immediately regretted it upon sensing the smallest pheromones. Instinctively, he wanted to comfort him, but needless to say, he didn't know how. Shoyo said you wanted to talk to me. He started hesitantly, waiting for the response that would send him away. Though, I guess he must have misunderstood something or jumped to conclusions as usual. Kageyama chuckled nervously. He looked up in surprise when the Omega actually started talking. Have you ever had the feeling that there was something you couldn't tell them? Your mates? He looked up at the blonde, puzzled, who still refused to look up from his hands. They were shaking slightly and grabbed the fabric of his sweater tighter. He seemed to avoid rubbing it over his scent lens, probably to savor the scent still sticking to the piece of clothing. I'm sorry. He said you had. His hands gripped the sweater even tighter, and his eyes wandered through the room, shortly hesitating on the blanket as if he searched for an escape, for a place to hide. The Alpha blinked confused before nodding slowly. No, I mean, yeah, I did. No need to apologize. Kenma's head snapped around and he stared at Kageyama with an intensity the other didn't expect. It felt as if he was staring into his soul. More intense even than when they met as opponents on the court all these years ago. He remembered the vigilant eyes observing them vividly. Everybody would. Kenma himself had never been the most noticeable from an outsider's perspective, but from the court, as a setter, it was hard to forget the piercing eyes that analyzed and understood every strategy in seconds, always countering it with a strategy of his own. He certainly never forgot. How did you fix it? There was something almost desperate and yet determined in his eyes. Kageyama was startled but didn't look away. Something about these ember eyes, the silent plea reflected in them, the burning intensity or the glistening of tears in them, didn't allow him to. There was nothing to fix. We just needed to talk. Sounds a lot easier than it is, but if you want to be with them, it is your only option. He gulped, his mind straying back to his own struggles with the topic. What happened? He wasn't sure if Kenma was referring to the thing that caused him to feel alone, as if he had no one to talk to, no one he could go to, not even his partners, or something else. But he did know that he wouldn't be able to put into words what he felt back then, or why he thought he was alone with it. It had just been a fact, his reality. It was a matter of the mind rather than the truth. We talked. They did. It worked out. The problem he deemed unsolvable was never there to begin with, but it was hard to realize that when your mind was determined to find evidence for the end. He was glad, lucky beyond measure, that they had never given up on him, that he knew now that they wouldn't, even on lonely nights when his mind wandered back to these dark places. But he had to hear the words. He needed to hear them over and over again, and that was only possible if he talked to them, if he told them, and the same goes for Kenma. He didn't know how the older felt, but there was no doubt in his mind that their situations were at least to some degree similar. What if I can't talk about it? That's what it felt like. Was it really that much different? What could there be that he was unable to tell his partners? You won't know unless you try. These words were carved into his brain. It wasn't like he had been able to realize what the problem was on his own back then. He needed help just like Kenma did now. It was Sugawara's words. The silence returned, more deafening than before. Was that all you wanted to ask? He scanned the Amiga carefully, his posture and gaze, the way he fumbled with his sweatshirt, and how he worried his bottom lip between his teeth. It was one of the rare occasions in which he wished to be more sensitive towards others' emotions. He didn't really know what to do next. Kenma nodded and looked back down. Hesitantly, the alpha got up. When he left the room, Hinata awaited him already, although he made a point to look busy. He left their bedroom, an empty basket they used for laundry in hand. Kageyama closed the distance between them before Hinata got the chance to and nuzzled his nose into the orange curls. The light, warm, and most importantly happy scent filled his nostrils as he breathed in deeply. The small up hurt at the touch after the initial surprise faded. And? How did it go? Weird. I don't think I'm good with this kind of thing. He wandered lower and hid his face against Hinata's neck, right above his scent gland. It was comforting being so close to him. The ginger chuckled. He took a step back and gently cupped this at his cheeks. I'm sure you did great, my alpha. Hinata felt the skin warming underneath his touch and chuckled again before pulling him down into a kiss. Look, I wouldn't have been able to tell him. I mean, I could say the words, but it's still different coming from someone who understands. He smiled and gently caressed Kageyama's cheeks before letting his head fall against his chest again and wrapping his arms around the taller. Don't sell yourself short. The alpha nodded stiffly but returned the hug. You could help, you know? Hinata shouted from the kitchen, even though it was everything but far away from the dinner table where Tsukishima sat, looking down at his tablet. I'm trying to concentrate. The blonde sent a glare in his direction, which the Amiga commented with a huff. Yamaguchi next to them, he sat at the other end of the table, rolled his eyes. It was sometimes hard to believe that both of them were supposed to be adults when they started bickering like this. The air thickened with spicy anger, but neither of them seemed to notice, while they continued sending glares in each other's directions. It just so happened that Hinata, the extrovert he was, preferred doing things together with others. But today, right now, none of them had time to help him, and after a training, the ginger only commented with a frustrated groan he was on edge. And Tsukishima, who just happened to be the closest, suffered the consequences. Not that he was handling it particularly well. The younger Omega felt his own frustration accumulating and the desire to smash his head onto the table grow, even though that certainly wouldn't have helped with the slowly intensifying headache. His thoughts were interrupted as a new, by now very familiar scent mixed with the others. He looked up surprised. It was the last thing he had expected, but unless he was hallucinating or Kenma had an evil twin, it was truly the blonde Omega lingering at the door frame between the hallway and the kitchen. Even though the distress was still evident in his scent, and probably still predominating, he just had gotten so used to it that the change took him by surprise, it seemed to have subsided a bit and blended with a newfound nervousness. The former pinch server was quick to put the book aside he tried to read for the past 30 minutes and made his way towards their guest. Kenma, do you need anything? He didn't need to look around to know that Hinata's attention switched to them upon hearing his best friend's name. No. I was just wondering if I could eat with you today. A huge smile spread on Hinata's face and he happily waved him over. Of course! Come here! You can help me cook! A small smile tugged the gamer's lips upwards and he followed Hinata's inviting gesture. The ginger had completely forgotten about his argument with Tsukishima and just started rambling about his day, barely giving Kenma the chance to answer. The blonde, however, didn't mind. This was what he came downstairs for. A welcome distraction. He had missed Hinata's kind and jolly nature, even though it got a bit too much at times. Still, it was just what he needed right now. To bathe in the younger Omega's light for a bit and let it chase away the dark thoughts. In the end, he didn't really do any of the cooking, but Hinata as well as Kenma were perfectly content with him just listening while the spiker cooked and talked. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like the video because it really would help me out. And don't forget to subscribe for the next part, which will actually be uploaded in less than an hour. Be back here in less than an hour because this is a double feature. This chapter isn't over. The video was just getting too long for my ADHD to handle. So yeah, I hope you stick around. I hope to see you in the next premiere in about 45 minutes. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Special thanks to my nerdy neckos as always. You support this channel so much. If you also want to become a nerdy necko, check out the join button under this video or support me by looking at my other social media or even better, the other next videos in the end cut. And I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Bye!
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be